Have a great day, people all around the world. It is my absolute joy today to finally have this second time live with Toby Shinobi. We've been trying to do this for weeks now, and just in the crazy world, crazy things happened. But here we are today, and I'm really looking forward to hearing your latest ideas and research findings, because I really enjoyed the last time we had a chat. So I'm just all ears, like I presume everybody else is. So welcome, Toby Shinobi.
Hi, thanks for having me again. It's good to be here. It's been a while. Lots of rescheduling from both sides, but it's good we've waited so long because it gives us more stuff to talk about. We could have done a part two much sooner, and then spoken about or gone into more deeply the stuff we were speaking about before, but I think that the world's changing so fast. There's so much new things emerging and so much going on. I've been looking into lots of different things, which I'm looking forward to sharing today. And yeah, just if anyone in the chat's got any questions, I'm happy to talk about anything. What I try to do is give a fresh perspective on stuff. So I just try to recognize the information, like the knowledge, as being like to know the ledge. That's a barrier there.
Yep.
But then also just like knowing that we can climb over it and see beyond. But the barrier is necessary to kind of have a point of reference, but sometimes that point of reference is limiting. So I'm all about just going over the barriers, like flipping, reversing, dissolving, just seeing things with a new perspective. That's what I try to do, which is feels a bit more lighter, because a lot of the information, the stuff we're given, and a lot of the concepts about reality and us and ourselves are quite dense. Like, people claim to know what's going on, and I quite like finding myself in the liminal, the spaces in between, which is like the pure potential, like the wave. So yeah, looking forward to today's conversation. Where did you want to start, really?
It's just that, where do we start? How does it feel to be on this wave? Could you elaborate a little bit more on there?
So well, because when I hear words like wave, like so many things come to my mind, like the age of Aquarius. The symbol is 2 waves, and I just view that as a light wave and a water wave. And light travels on water. There's a kind of dance between light and water. For example, with the split particle experiment, where they shot light photons through 2 slits, or particles, light particles, and when they're observed, they behave differently. So it's like, when something's observed, it behaves differently. When we observe reality, it behaves differently. When we're programmed to have a certain perception of reality, it behaves differently. This is why the mind and our thoughts, the force, which is all around us, which is pure potential. We have this, which is called our mind, but it's really our brain. It's kind of a tuning device. We can tune into the all mind, which I like to call the world soul, which is all around us. And we can tune into things around us. But I wanted to talk about kind of that a bit more later, really, like the kind of formless, or where stuff's from, and then the morphing, the bridge, the kind of changing, and then the form, which is the matter. But with this wave, we have there's this kind of dance between the light and the dark. Like, we see the world around us with light, but that's like 1% of all that is. The rest is darkness that we can't, which is just something we can't see or can't perceive. And everything to do with the dark has been demonized. The underworld, the subconscious, like
Mm-hmm.
even like goddesses like Hecate, or everything she stands for, like the liminal, black dogs, keeper of keys, demonized because they don't want us unlocking doors. They don't
True.
want us. They don't want us tapping into the pure potential, which is more of the feminine, like the depths, the deep, the water, the into, going into ourselves, because there's a well inside all of us. There's a depth inside all of us, and what's happened is that they've made us not look inside of ourselves, but constantly looking outside and outsourcing our power, our information, our knowledge, whatever. And that is the white light opposed to the black light inside of us, which I call like the well. And then if someone's like, oh, how are you? I'm well. Are you really? Like when you're well, you've tapped into your well. You've kind of like a well in the world is where you get water from underground, which is fresh spring water, healing. It's really good for you. Fresh insights. When you start looking inwards, so you have information from outside, knowledge, you soak it in, you go into it, look into it with your intuition, and you can have a fresh perspective. That's what intuition is. It's like, it's not being told how something is. It's you have a piece of information or a concept, and you dissect it in your own way. Like I like to use etymology has been like a really, that's helped guide me through so many things, just like words and splitting them and finding out what that word is in another language. Like an example is people who are clairvoyant have claircognition. I've always thought, why clair? Why not clear? It should be clear cognition. Yeah, clairvoyance.
Yeah.
And the reason is because clair in French means clear. So we in the English language are using the French word. But for me, it makes no sense because I speak English. So why would I say clair? I'll just say how it is. So I've started saying clear cognition, because that's what it is. It's clear. It's not clair. That's a French word. So it's interesting because they sound very similar, clair and clear. But I just find it very interesting because intuitively, sometimes I'm like, oh, surely it should be this. And then you do look into it and you're like, okay, that makes sense. So yeah, the wave is just the spaces in between, like the liminal, the wave goes up and down. And I like a concept to do with the wave function is, I guess, that in cymatics, if you amplify the frequency, the structure of the matter changes. So have you heard of cymatics?
Yeah.
So like for example, like sound on water creates geometric patterns, and sand on a speaker creates patterns. So if you amplify the frequency, like a higher frequency, the symmetrical pattern's more complex. So my point in saying this is, with a sine wave, sin is short for sine. Dying for our sins is dying for our light. It's the opposite. It's not dying for stuff we've done wrong. It's dying for our goodness, our light, because we have sinusoidal light waves, sin waves, sine waves. It's the snake. That's what that shape is, which has been demonized. But anyway, if you have a low frequency, you have you spend more time in the ups and more time in the down and up. But if you have a higher frequency, you have like less time in up and less time in down, and you're just being. And that's what I tend to do, is not I'm saying higher frequency and lower frequency maybe isn't a good example. It's better to be able to show it on a graph. But my point in saying this is that everything is a wave. Like everything is a wave, water waves and light waves. We're in water, we see light, and sometimes things go up, sometimes things go down. But the thing is, up doesn't mean good and down doesn't mean bad, because we have heavens above and the underworld below. We have the darkness within and we have the light outside. It's not to say that one is good and one is bad. Like the dark isn't good and the light isn't bad, vice versa. It's this dance that we're in. So one concept I have is like the way I look into things and the dance I do with my mind, my psyche. I call it Tai Chi for my psyche. It's just this constant dance like this. And occasionally you get things thrown at you, but if you're constantly moving, you can just wipe them away. And everything is in this constant motion. We're in an ocean of motion, be it water or light. And I think that this ties in with our emotions and a kind of stagnation. So motion, energy in motion, and that this energy should flow through us, but sometimes we kind of we block it and we forget to move. Like we're quite kind of like still rooted to the spot, and we're not in flow. And I think that this time we're in now, we really need to learn what it is to swim, like with our mind, learn to travel on water and not be stuck in a linear perspective of reality and what it is, what it could be, what it has been and what it's going to be. But it's just this wave of pure potential, and that we're vessels and we're channelers for anything to come through. And this is how subliminal and subconscious programming works, because there's so much effort to make us bring a certain reality into being. And I think that we're way more powerful than we realize. And there's so much done through the school system, through the monetary system and working and stuff like that to really like make us push our spirit and our soul into a box.
I see. This sort of reminds me. It was just this morning on X. I was looking at this short video. There was a guy telling us that the Simpsons, they are not predictions. It's programming, because the people who write the scripts for the Simpsons, they have Ivy League degrees. Like the particular episode for the Pandora virus, which is now referred as the prediction for the hantavirus. The guy who wrote it has an honors degree from Harvard University in cognitive neuroscience. Why on earth would a person with honors degree in cognitive neuroscience be like writing the stories for a comic? Unless it is for the purpose of giving us ideas which we can sort of create into reality.
Yeah, I think I saw that same video this morning, actually. That Matt Groening, good friend of Epstein, and he was on his flight log many times, wasn't actually the sole writer. There were 24 writers from Harvard. And then, the one you're talking about for that particular episode was a not a neuroscientist, but what did you say he was?
I think he was a cognitive neuroscientist.
Yeah.
Like
so he understands how the mind works.
Behavioral studies.
Yeah, that's really interesting, because there seems to be a lot of predictions in The Simpsons, like a lot of similarities, like Trump going down an escalator and things like that. I mean, it's certainly interesting. I don't see what the point would be in however many years ago doing that Simpsons episode and then now there's a variety. Perhaps they've got loads of cards. Like it does seem they have loads of cards. These Parasite Elite that they use, and then they try to play one card, and then we see their hand, like with meningitis here in the UK not so long ago with Exercise Pegasus, that people can see through it. So then they throw another card, whether it's like a virus, war, this, and so. But I'm not sure how putting in a Simpsons episode years ago would affect reality now.
Maybe it takes time.
Yeah.
Maybe it sort of like takes time because this is a material world. It's sort of like slow. Manifestation is slower here than in our imagination. Maybe I don't know. I really don't know. But that was stopping. I stopped scrolling for a while. I was like wondering that a cognitive scientist, like what?
Yeah, I mean, with movies, there's been lots of movies like White Noise on Netflix was based on a book, and that was about a train derailment in Ohio. That happened 2 months later. There was Leave the World Behind, created by the Obamas on Netflix. And 2 months later, a boat crashed into a bridge. The thing is, with all of these little things, you could probably decode them like all day. And sometimes people do. They're like, the ship was going at however many degrees, it left this place, it crashed into the bridge's name was this, the bridge was facing this way. And it's like you can just get lost. And and some people do look into that, and I'm grateful for them doing so. But it's just like you can get lost in this stuff, and then people think like the code of like the Matrix and stuff, and like you can just get lost in that. And I don't think it's healthy or relevant. I think looking at the symbols, the symbolic nature, I think is it's still deep, but it's not getting lost. It's like, for example, a boat. What does the boat symbolize? And a bridge. Well, you have bridge, which can bridge worlds or this reality and another. If you're crashing into that bridge, like between those two states, like it could be just like material, but things seem to be symbolic, material, and metaphysical simultaneously. And this. So you can talk about the different layers. So the material aspect would be so that it's harder to get food across from that state to that state. I can't really remember because it's a while ago, but there are some things to do with that. And then also the symbolic nature of like, what does a bridge and what's the boat represent? Like time of year and stuff. And then the metaphysical aspect of the bridge, of the bridging worlds, and the boat and the boat's name perhaps and stuff. And so it is interesting to look into that stuff. And thankfully these psyops since 2020 seem to just dissolve. Like they've tried like many psyops, and people just like straight away are just like unraveling it. Like the veil's getting thinner, yes, but it's not just getting thinner on its own, it's people's perception of reality, and them tapping into the all mind. And what I call the psy-stem, that is the opposing factor of the system, because there's the system built in place to control us. But the psy-stem, so psyche in Latin means soul or spirit or mind. And mind means spirit. So the all mind is all spirit, is all soul. Like there is a world soul, which is run by our collective or subconscious. Of course, we have our own souls. I'm not talking about we're all one. No, we're not. We are individuals. We have an individual frequency, our souls. But the energy that we're in is all connected. And that's what they try and harness. That's what they try and tap into with this system, which has been built in place, which I would say is the false matrix, not the matrix, because the matrix means womb, and this place in which we're in seems to be a womb. Like in French, let me find out what it is. So it's called Earth, and in French, the word for Earth.
Monde.
Sorry, bear with me a second. Oh yeah, so oath, OEUF, means egg in French.
Yeah.
Oath. It sounds like earth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what shape is a seed? It looks like an egg.
Same. Yeah.
It looks
Same.
like an egg. So
Yeah.
you have Earth, meaning egg, and you have planet Earth, and then you have a seed which looks like an egg. Can you see where I'm going with this? Is that this realm here? Is it flat? Is it round? I could not care less. The shape of it. What's its purpose is more interesting. Like why are we here? What is it? Like the shape. Why does the shape of something matter? The purpose or the essence is really what I try to get to, because that's the whole point. What's the point in talking about this or that, spinning around in circles? Let's get to the center. And if the earth is oath, is an egg, and oath meaning wisdom, hence Sophia, that this place here is supposed to make us wise. It's a place like with an egg or a seed. Is this first off, a seed contains everything, all the information for a tree.
Yes, it does.
We are seeds of the world tree, like some call Yggdrasil, which we can get to later, and the center, relating to the center of the world, also black rock too, like magnetic north. That's why it all compasses point north. That's where I believe are the roots to this realm in which we're in, which I don't know the shape, but maybe it's a seed. Its purpose seems to be an egg or a seed, and that it's a place for us to grow. A womb as well is where babies grow. Like it seems to be like it's a womb, and that's what matrix means, is womb. So for people to say it's the matrix, it's this evil place, that is quite like, they're not wrong, but they're not right either, because this realm isn't a fake reality or anything like that. The way I look at things is with all of these ancient stories of like mythologies and stuff, I can see them being played out now in real time. Like the Gnostics spoke of the demiurge, a lion-headed snake, created by Sophia when Sophia fell. And of course, Sophia is a feminine archetype. Every feminine archetype has fallen. They're always demonized. Like, did she fail? Did she get pushed out, or what? Like, Sophia means wisdom. And if you look at Rudolf Steiner's The Eighth Sphere in the realm of shells, that's happening now, because the realm of shells can only come to pass if Sophia, our wisdom, gets eaten by vampires, which is what's happening now with all these viruses and all of this. So my point in saying this is that when people like say, oh, this is the matrix, is all flawed, it's a prison and stuff like that, I think it's quite sad, because it makes you think that we're trapped, and we're not trapped yet. They're building this digital false matrix layer around us right now with Neuralink and all of these 5G, 6G towers, all these data farms. They're trying to harvest all of our data, because we're chaos to them. We're disorder. They need order. Exactly. And they fear us because we're powerful. We can we're magical beings. We can create things. This is our realm. This is our home, not fucking planet wherever. Like, maybe some people think that, or are you programmed or conditioned to think you're from another planet? Because this is my home right here. and we're in the middle of an invasion. And perhaps we've had an invasion in the past and something went away, but as far as I see it, the shadows started leaking back into this realm under the name of AI. And these technocrats are like the new priest class, like programming these demons, which are these algorithms, because that's what a demon is. You train a demon to manipulate people. That's what algorithms do. So to say that, oh, this world's already flawed and all of this stuff, it's not. This realm has everything we need in it. Right now, we're in the middle of psychic warfare, and we need to stop saying we're from elsewhere, from other planets, waiting for our people to come and save us, because no one's coming to save us. We need to step up and tap into the well inside of us and start expanding outwards, so that we can be beacons for each other. Because I think that it's a whole psyop to say that my understandings of space and stuff. I mean, I just think this is space here. We're in space. There's space between us, and in this space is water, and there's waters above as well. And I don't really want to focus on what's out there, up there. I think that's kind of like doesn't really matter. I would focus on the present moment of where we are in the world today, what's going on. I look into the past, into mythology, and stories and things like that, like the Anunnaki, things like that, and be like, okay, how does that relate today? Well, Elon Musk says he wants to go to Mars, and now he's saying he can't anymore, which is a surprise. We know they can't, but I felt for a while that he wants to bring Marduk here, and Marduk is the one that slayed Tiamat, which would be the dragon, the mother of all the gods, Chaos, the one that got slain by the order of Marduk, who said, worship me above all others. And we're right in this now, because Elon Musk is the order. He wore a jacket saying New World Order on the back. He is the order. We are the chaos. We have dragon energy inside of us. There used to be dragons here in this realm, which I don't know what happened. It had something to do with all of the church cathedral bells being destroyed. Our frequency has been messed up here, and maybe these dragons are still here. Like sometimes I can see them in clouds, like in the sky and stuff. But I think that as within, so without, this energy is inside all of us. And I think that they fear us tapping into this energy. Like to breathe fire is just to breathe wisdom. Fire is wisdom. So fear, so fire. Phi is the golden ratio. It's a spiral. And when you're thinking in a spiral, it's in and out. It's not a square. It's not a cube. It's not fucking Minecraft. They want us to be in Minecraft, like thinking in like blocks, everything separated.
Yeah, everything's
really
square.
Our wisdom is a spiral, and with the spiral, the golden ratio is that when you learn something, you go back to it with fresh eyes and a fresh perspective, and you have new. It's an unraveling. Like if you look at like flowers and stuff, they're unraveling. A blade of grass even has the vortex, and it's this vortex energy which is what they fear, which is the balance of the masculine, the feminine, and then having our anchor point in the middle, because the word spin has the S, the sort of like that, but it has the pin. To spin, you need a pin, you need a central point, and that's what the mean is. The mean is the central point to something. That's what the meaning is the central point.
Yeah.
It's not what's outside of us, it's what's inside of us. And that's the point of us being here, is to connect to our core. And there's so much done to us to put up blockages and barriers to connect to our true authentic selves. People put on masks, and like the world stage, they're all actors, but that's just a reflection of the collective subconscious. I think when people say Andrew Tate is the worst person in the world, he just needs to be killed, Trump's the worst person, they're horrible people, but they're not the worst people. They're just the people put on telly. they're like a scapegoat. Yeah, they're evil, but if they were to die, that energy inside them would just go to somebody else. The only way we get out of this is by integrating and alchemizing, and it's not easy. Like, people tend to like fill their well, like, with alcohol, drugs, sex, this, that, constantly filling it, and that's because they're conditioned to do so. And it's not an easy process to do that, to kind of find this depth within us, which I'm just learning about this, but I think it's what the black sun is, or the Ein Sof. You know, I'm just starting to learn about that, but that seems to be that black light seems to be what my research has been leading up to for the last 6 years, is that this light, which doesn't seek to dampen any other light, this black light seems to be where everything comes from. I mean, I can use the example, like, all around us we have light that we see, but 99% of it is darkness, is black. And that the light we see, like, if you've ever like shaken your head or stood upside down, and if you know those stars you see,
Yeah.
they seem to be like light photons. They like come in and they go out. Like, I don't think they're in their head. I think we can actually see, like, our time maybe moves differently for a moment or whatever, but like, the light seems to come in and then go out, but it comes in from the darkness, it comes in from the blackness, and it goes back into the blackness, and the light we see is only here for a moment. And I think that this blackness, this darkness, which is all around us, contains all of the potential of anything. Like, if you want to use the terminology coding, or I like to use like magic, because coding is quite mechanical, but it's like this reality seems to communicate, like, we communicate with it, and it's like we're architects. And even the word arc is very similar to arc, which in ancient Egypt means eye or big brother. And you have the arc, you have the ka and the ba. The ka, the masculine, like fire, the chi, life force, prana, the etheric body, and then the ba, which would maybe be related more to the astral body, or which means basically our identity, or it's the human head. It's the part of us which goes beyond the firmament. But the Egyptians believe you had to have all three balanced: the ka, the ba, and the arc. So I just equate it to the masculine, the feminine, and then the arc being the eye, the central point, the pin, and then the electric, magnetic, however you want to look at it, the Ida Pingala spins like a vortex. And it seems that vortexes bring things into this realm, and things go through vortexes. And I think this vortex energy is very powerful.
May I stop you?
Yeah. I'll stop talking now.
Yeah, there's so many things in my head that I would like to pinpoint there. Egyptian, they have this healing equipment. It has a pin and a spin. And the name of it is quite close to the arc. You know what I'm meaning? Like the healing device that they had, this.
Oh, the Ankh.
Ankh, yeah. Because it has a pin and a spin. If you look at it, the way you were talking, that you need a pin around which you can spin, because otherwise you'll be rolling out of the picture, basically. Yeah,
so it's interesting that, so the Ankh is spelled ANKH, and that's the cross with the loop on top, which means life. And you have that, which means life, and it has a loop on top of the cross. So you have the feminine loop, the seed, the womb on top, and then the cross representing the more masculine element. And then you have an anchor point, which, on a boat holds the ship in place. our vessel is the ship, and it's very important to have anchor points. And you find anchor points, well, I find anchor points by using the middle way. You call it third eye, whatever. I like to use the word liminal, because we get pushed this way, that way. Like politics is the politics. It's the tick, 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 this way, that way, red, blue, you know, people following this person or that person. It's the spectrum. Whereas the empire, the electromagnetic fire, they carve straight down the middle using their third eyes, because they do rituals and rites and stuff, and they understand how they work, how this realm works, how magic works, how the formless, how you can bring the formless into form by morphing. That's what they do, these secret societies. Whereas people, like, ritual has been, and ceremony has been lost on people. I mean, it has, but it hasn't. Our energy's been used, like at the Super Bowl, the superb owl, like the owl of Minerva or Athena at Bohemian Grove. You have like these huge games and ceremonies, like music stadiums where they do rituals. I went to a Billie Eilish concert with my partner a few years ago, and I kept pointing out to her stuff. And she like the cameraman had an eye patch over, I think it was his left eye. I was like, I bet you he doesn't need that eye patch. I bet you that's symbolic. The cameraman went round Billie, like he did a number 6 and then did it 3 times. There was a snake up on the screen when she was singing the song about don't abuse your power. And there was so much stuff. Oh yeah, she was wearing a t-shirt which I haven't been able to find a picture of, even though it was filmed. I haven't been able to find the footage, but she was wearing a t-shirt which had a knife, someone holding a knife on the back, and it said die. So the knife is being stabbed in the back, like someone will stab you in the back, and then the die, we have DEI, which is diversity, equality, and what's the other one? Which Billie Eilish has really been pushing, but she's telling you that she's stabbing you in the back. When we first went to the concert, on this big speaker, it was like, please wear a mask. And this was a year after COVID, and no one was wearing a mask. They were advertising this vegan food brand called Wicked, which, if you look at the ingredients, it is wicked. It will kill you because it's got a hell of a lot of shit in it. So anyway, there was just like, I could see all of this stuff. There was loads of other like weird ritual stuff they were doing with her music videos and stuff. And but yeah, so like people aren't conscious of the morphing. You know, they're not conscious of how they're bringing things into being, but the parasitic elite are. And when people are part of these mass rituals, our energy is being used. So yeah.
Yeah. I could just listen.
Maybe it has something to do with The Simpsons, and maybe it has something to do with on Netflix, like the films they show, and then it happens later in reality. I mean, are we responsible for that, or is it like tricking people into thinking? Is it making people more okay with it, like because your subconscious has seen it already happen? So you've seen it in the movie. You see like loads of people dying in a movie. You see loads of people dying in reality, and you're like, yeah, I've already seen it, mate. You know. So it's like Overton window, I think it's called. It's kind of like it moves. So like things happen because our minds can't tell whether it's real or not when we're watching a movie. There's a lot of magic, like spellcraft, goes into filmmaking.
Yeah, maybe it's just shaming us. Maybe it's guilt, like they making us feel guilty of the world around us, telling it's just us creating it. I don't know, it could be anything. But I was actually looking forward to, you said that you don't really care about the shape of the world or anything, but I was sort of expecting us to talk a little bit about the firmament.
Yep.
And its relation
to the firmament doesn't have anything to do with the shape of the world. So we can talk about that. We can talk about anything. We can talk about the shape, but there's just so much other stuff to talk about. Like,
there is. But another theory I found on there was like the firmament was there prior to the current ages, and the firmament was a protective layer. And under the firmament, we lived until 1,000 years, and we were connected to the star wisdom, etc. But when the firmament was broken down, I think this person called it a war or the fallen angels, never mind, but somebody from the outside broke the firmament. And nowadays, because of that, we are exposed to the moon energy more, and that keeps us like more vulnerable, and that cuts our life short, that we live the maximum 120 years nowadays, and which is like preventing us from living long enough to gain the star wisdom. Like this was her idea in short, that the firmament was, but it no longer is, and we are exposed to the bad moods. You muted yourself.
Oh, okay. I'm going to come from an angle which is like might seem unrelated, but it's the essence. So I'm going to talk about the firmament and the moon without talking about the firmament and the moon, but I will get to that because this is like, I can't prove that, but I can prove this. So, okay, so we have blue light in our screens for a reason, because that's to do with making us docile and not basically living properly. Like, hence classes. Yeah. So transhumanism is transhumans. You're just in a trance, like a zombie, sleepwalking through life. Okay. And the firmament. So first off, that relates to the moon, because the moon is to do with magnetism and tides. And this blue light on our screens is magnetism, because blue light pulls. Red light comes towards us, like the sun. Blue light pulls. Yeah. So in 2015, they did experiments with magnetism, and they found that with magnets around the brain, let's say a phone might do this, or 5G or Apple AirPods or whatever. Maybe I certainly believe that there's these 5G definitely did this.
Definitely.
And as they're starting to roll out 6G now, we'll probably find this more. But they found with these experiments that it affected the prefrontal cortex here, the magnetism, and it gave people brain fog, and it detached them from God, meaning that they had no faith in the afterlife or anything. They were just basically like, by God, I don't really know whether they mean Christian God or whatever, but with God, my understanding is source, is timelessness, is beyond the past, present, and future. It's just the timelessness. It's the, it's this energy in which we're all a part of, which the world soul, I'll say the world soul. That for me is God. And I think that with these technologies, like this blue light, it can kind of drain us. If you've been on screens for ages, not doing much, you feel drained. Why? Because there's this magnetism has been pulling out your essence. So people want to talk about loosh and stuff and extracting. This is like literally scientific. Like it goes back to Las Vegas, where the CIA and mafia, basically the reason why Las Vegas has no windows, these machines have so many lights and stuff grabbing your attention, and they have alcohol, is because they want to keep you rooted to the spot. They don't want you leaving. Las Vegas is like the vagus nerve, which connects the heart and brain. You can think of the vagus nerve as the pin, and then the brain and heart as the spinning, the electromagnetic, the above, below, just polarity, with the vagus being allowing them both to spin and to communicate. So this realm is sort of becoming a bit like Las Vegas, in that there's so much done to disrupt our endocrine system, our nervous system. And so we rooted to the spot. So our imagination and our dreaming doesn't leave the firmament, because the firmament just means solid mind. That's what it is. Firm and ment. Ment is mind. But ment is also spirit. Mind is also spirit and soul. So it goes a bit beyond solid mind. It's more solid spirit. You look at it as like confined spirit. The firmament means confined spirit or confined soul. But the thing is, our souls or our mind or our spirit can go beyond the firmament, and we do so when we're dreaming or when we're daydreaming or using our imagination. We can go beyond the firmament. So
in that way, a human is also a firmament, a contained soul or a contained spirit.
Firmament is solid mind or solid spirit, and there's nothing solid about our mind or our spirit. We're told our minds are in here. So this is our physical body. We have an astral body. No, we have an etheric body and an astral body. Like the astral is more to do with our emotional body, I think. But really, like, the mind is all around us. It's like our body is in our mind. Our mind isn't in our body. So this is why mind over matter is a thing, and how you can heal yourself by thought. Because
so the human is not a firmament, it is more.
Well, I think that the firmament is seen as a negative, but I don't know if it necessarily is. It could be, but I quite like to look at the different possibilities of, like. So I just want to briefly answer your question properly first, with regarding the moon and the firmament. Is that the moon seems to be a light that distracts our soul when we exit our body, potentially. That's the white light. So like technology is a distraction for our soul now, the white light we see up in the sky when our soul leaves our body, perhaps that's a distraction. It seems to be a reflection of the earth, of the whole earth, not just the part of the earth which we're told is the earth, the lands beyond. It seems to be a mirror image of that, but perhaps it's mirroring the black sun. Perhaps it has something to do with the black sun. Like, we have the sun up in the sky, and then we have the black sun in the center of the earth, like Rupus Negro, like magnetic north. And I think that perhaps we're supposed to go back into the earth, into the underworld, into the depths, into the deep, into the darkness, so our light can alchemize and transmute. But instead, we're being trained now to follow the white light, like technology and screens and stuff. So I'm just trying to use the present moment to sort of explain something which the moon may not have always been there, the firmament may not have always been there, but right now our minds are being conditioned to be confined, and we're being conditioned to follow the white light rather than going into ourselves. Like, the earth is we are one with the earth. And I think that when we pass on, we go back into the earth and we alchemize. But what's happened is we've been distracted with technology. And when we pass, we'll go towards the white light, which is the moon. And the moon is magnetic, is to do with the waves. And I think that perhaps, I don't know, like it does affect the tides and the water. And perhaps it affects us when we pass on, when our light leaves our body, perhaps, you know, it does affect the subconscious as well. So that is very interesting. In regards to the firmament, some people, there was like Operation Fishbowl, which the Nazis did. But I mean, to say it's a bowl, they're kind of saying that I don't believe we've got a glass dome over us. And if there is some kind of dome, I think it's more to protect us than enslave us. Has anyone ever said that?
I've heard it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because I've not really heard other people say that. There are people say, "Oh, the firmament, it's here to like trap our souls and stuff like that." It was like, maybe, but what if it isn't? What if there's a protective water barrier, which is like a plasma layer of like structured water, which is around our DNA, like structured plasma water known as exclusion zone water, is around our DNA and around our blood cells. What if that's around the Earth? And I believe that the so-called elite, they can't leave this realm because they are not pure of soul. And they want us to be impure as well. This is why so much is done to make us impure. I'm not talking about sins. I'm just talking about the Epstein class and how people seem to be okay with it. They're not like on the streets doing stuff about it. They might not be okay, but they've just been so conditioned that they just let stuff slide. And I believe that when we die, when we pass on, our light leaves our body and it travels on water and it goes through the firmament, and it ties in with Saturn as well. Because all of the names of Saturn, right? For example, structured water or plasma water atomically looks like a hexagram. It's fourth phase. So the number 4 is the force, is thoughts. Like there's plasma water all around us. And on the north pole of Saturn, there's a hexagram. And when people are like, "Oh, it's Satan, it's got a hexagram, that's the black cube, it's here to confine us, contain us and stuff." Well, you can see a cube in the hexagram, but if you look at Hecate, for example, and the burning of the witches and stuff, and the whole demonization of the hex and the number 6, like I believe I've heard that the Greeks didn't use the word. I think they didn't use number 6. They used digamma. They used 3 and 3 instead of the 6. 33, which is a digamma. And digamma 33, di means to change, or transform. Like in Chinese, dai means butterfly, because the butterfly emerges from a chrysalis. You dye your clothes. Multiple dice are called dye. So it means multiply or to change, dye. And gamma is Christ consciousness. So 33, whenever you see that number anywhere, like the Charlie Kirk assassination, like the hats 474747, 33 with COVID, that just means that they're trying to change the digamma, where they're trying to change Christ consciousness, which is our consciousness. And that I've sort of lost my thread. But yeah, my point is that the elite seems to be wanting to destroy the firmament, which I think maybe Tiamat, because Tiamat is the plasma, which is the darkness. She's the mother of all the gods. Well, where do all things come from? Plasma. So there's a story of Marduk decapitating or cutting Tiamat into two. That's in the past. I can't prove that's real, but what I can prove is that Elon Musk is trying to summon Marduk. He's trying to tap into the energy of Marduk. He's not going to Mars. There's so many reasons for that, which I can list, but I don't want to lose my train of thought, so we can always come back to that. But the NASA have been launching rockets. Elon Musk have been launching rockets. They're trying to destroy the plasma layer, which I believe is protecting us. We're protected by this dragon because there are perhaps forces outside of this realm which want to come into this realm. And you better believe they want to come into this realm, because you look at AI, like COVID, Divok-19. Divok means to unleash an evil spirit or something like that. 19 is AI. They're using AI and algorithms to summon demons, to train us to bring demons into this realm. You look at the first 72 emojis are the same as Solomon's 72 demons. So when you're sending emojis, you're casting these sigils. Like, people are playing with magic and they don't even know it. And I personally believe that this realm is like the firmament's not here to what's the word, to contain us, to trap us. It's more of this is an initiation, and that to pass the dragon, the metaphorical dragon of the innermost cave of the hero's journey, the one that's protecting the gold or our divine spark, is that we have to pass the dragon and meet it head on and be worthy to do so. And that the elites, their bloodlines, are not worthy to do so. That's why they've demonized Sophia. They've demonized the dragon. They've cast dragons out of our minds, told us they're dinosaurs, which is don't know source. So we don't know where we've come from. We don't know our connection to all of these divine beings. So that's my 2 cents on the firmament, that we pass this gate, this threshold, when we've kind of when we've completed our initiation. But the unfortunately, there's no, kids aren't initiated when they're like 12 or 14, and unfortunately people are initiated into things which they didn't sign up for. Like, you have soul contracts and stuff which I don't know about and I don't buy into. I'll use the present moment, and that you can have soul contracts when you're alive. What it means to sell your soul is just mean to give yourself up to something. Let's use the word, okay. There's a lot in the spiritual community about connecting to your higher self. What if your self isn't higher? What if your self is in here? Remember, like, we're a seed from the world's tree, and that we need to go into ourselves to find our spark, which has been buried. Sophia has fallen into us, and we need to set her free, which is our divine wisdom, our spark, our flame. So people are outsourcing their power to a higher self. Well, you have higher as in up, but when you hire someone, when there's a job vacancy, so are people putting a sign up saying there's a self for hire because they've given their self away? Does that make sense to you?
It does.
Connecting to your higher self, is that really you, or are you letting other entities?
I thought of that.
You know, so I think our self is our core, is our essence, which is in us already. The only way to connect to that is to go into it through the waters. So we have waters above, but waters within us as well, which is the underworld, the rivers of the underworld. You have Charon, Charon, who carries the deceased along the river Styx when we pass. But Charon is a lot like Chiron, and Chiron is the wounded healer. And then you have Kairos, Kairos, which is like flow time, the opportune moment, which is the opposite of Chronos. So Chronos is linear time, is the old man, and you have Kairos, which is Mercury. He's a figure who's young, youthful. That's the well of youth. He has wings on his sandals. He can travel between worlds. And the north pole of Saturn is Kairos time, which is the hexagram, which is plasma, four-phase water, exclusion zone. Water defies time. Water is a portal. The south pole of Saturn is an eye, which is the observer, which is the linear time, which is the quantitative kind of observing this is this. If we use Saturn, which governs time and space and is not Satan, time and space is not our enemy. Like time and space is how we perceive reality. That's amazing. We just need to be in flow with time in the wave and understand that there is no space between things because we're in water and things ripple through water and it just takes time. But time is not linear. It's a circle, it's a sphere. So my point in this is with the etymology of the Charon, who carries the deceased across the rivers, Chiron, who is the wounded healer, Kairos time, this all relates to traveling on water, and the underworld, which is on water, and Pluto, which is the underworld, or Hades, which is furthest planet away from us, which is an icy planet, which could be, but I do know that ice is related to fear and that there's perhaps an ice wall around us and there's more lands beyond that, and perhaps this place we're in is infinite and it's not, and that the ice represents the firmament. The firmament's not maybe up there, but perhaps the ice represents the solid mind and that our spirit is confined to here. And if we cast out our imagination to think that maybe there's more beyond the ice wall, more beyond the fear, we can travel through the subconscious, through these rivers, not when we die, not when our light leaves our body, but we can get our light to expand outwards now while we're alive, because all die is to change and multiply. And the word die is also connected to God as well, because you have de or deus, dice. It's the same. That's God. Like, we are parts of the world soul. The world soul is God. If this realm is God, we're a part of that. So we are God too, and we can ignite that flame. But there's so much done to squash and confine us. So in regards to the firmament, maybe it's there for a reason. I don't know. But all I know is that the elites can't leave this realm. We can when we're dreaming, because we have our imagination. We have our wonder of what if, but they're told us from a young age, every child, dinosaurs, space. Dinosaurs is don't know source, which is to do with time, and space is to do with space. Now, let's put Saturn in the middle. Saturn is time and space. So they've demonized Saturn. They've demonized our connection to that, because Saturn is to do with boundaries and structure and stuff, which is necessary, but it doesn't need to restrict us. It's like structure, like structured water or boundaries can help us channel, because if we had just chaos, we'd just be in a soup. If we didn't have a body, we'd be light, we'd just be everywhere. And it's a blessing that we have a human body and that we're able to perceive time at a slower pace, and that with the structure we can channel the water, which is the chaos, and guide it. But this sort of chaos and order is a dance. It's not like order's bad, chaos is bad. Both are needed. The chaos is more of the divine feminine, and the order is more of the divine masculine. Neither is better than the other. They're a union, and they want us separated from that. So this new world order is creating chaos and making us think that chaos is bad and demonizing chaos. while they create order, and then while they're also demonizing order, which is Saturn, which is to do with structure and discipline and stuff. So basically, they want us undisciplined and chaotic, but they don't want us tapping into the chaos. They just want us spinning in circles, you know?
And they don't want us wondering. They want us to believe in a certain truth or certain story. And the imagination, and then just the wondering if that is or that is, that's our superpower.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I'm just, this has probably nothing to do with anything here, but it's been, I don't remember if I've told you, but I lost sight of this eye a couple of months ago, partially. And I see things weirdly nowadays. And it just made me realize how easy it is to fool us, to fool a human, because we trust so completely with the eyesight. And the other day I was staring at a table at home because my brain was telling me that there is a coffee filter on the table. And I knew that there isn't, because we don't have a machine, a filter coffee machine here. So we don't have a coffee filters laying around. And I had to stare at that brownish thing for almost a minute until I realized that it's a hair thing. But my immediate thought was that it's a coffee filter thing. The other day I was looking outside, and behind another building there's a yellow building, and we can only see a little part of that yellow building. But I didn't see that yellow building. What I saw was a flying banana. And that happened 3 times. I saw a huge levitating banana from our kitchen window. And I just kept staring. I turned around, turned away, looked again through the kitchen window, and the banana was still there. Until I was just kept staring it for about a minute, just to realize that, to tell my brain that it's still the yellow building behind the brown building. It just, the loss of sight, the partial blindness has really like changed a lot in my view of the world, because I notice how I and all the humans, we sort of, how we see.
Yeah, so we see through water, and there's water all around us. And if you've ever looked like at a mirage, like when it's been hot, there's a kind of gas that you can see. Things like aren't solid. You can see that when it's a mirage, but also you can see it if you look between leaves, or if you focus on something, you can kind of see this mirage. It's kind of like a plasma gas. And that's what everything is made of. Like nothing is really solid. And it's quite cool to perceive things as not solid, as things as like, as more like potential than just fixed. Because I think that taps into our perception of like, it's more of like it goes beyond the material too, because if we see objects and things as not fixed, like just they're just energy moving. It's the same with concepts and ideas too, that they're just energy and they're moving. And then like we can keep going beyond that and just see that we're just energy and we're just moving through this realm, and so is everything around us. And I think that that's quite cool. Like unless it's scary or whatever, it can be quite I'm sure it can be quite a trip to see that. But just to like know that like things aren't just fixed, concepts aren't fixed, nothing is fixed. You can have an anchor point, but stuff still spins, it still moves, you know, which is a pretty cool concept. Yeah,
it's just It's an interesting world we live in. Definitely. I keep remembering what in the part one we said that we would return to the Saturn and to the vagus nerve, and
Yep.
you've sort of like talked a little bit about them. But it would be interesting to hear if you have more on the vagus nerve than the pin and the spinning around it.
Yeah, so 1 second. I'm just going to go shut my door because it's pretty cold. 1 second. It's quite cold out there today.
It's not yet.
Yeah, so with the vagus nerve, I'm pretty sure it connects your gut, your heart, and your mind.
Yeah, it has three branches. One is from the gut around the heart, and then it's a lot. It's just one nerve. It's three nerves, but basically it's between your mind and your gut. But it connects the heart, the hearing, the sight, and all of that. So it's a pretty interesting theory also from the physiological point of view to study. I'm a Pilates teacher, so I'm sort of like very into the vagus nerve, but your perspective is way other than the Pilates style.
So you can use like the Ida, Pingala, and the Sushumna, the caduceus as well, the two snakes with the central point. With caduceus, the caduceus sounds like code users. So when you have the Ida, Pingala, the Sushumna, the Ka, the Ba, the Uk, the heart, brain, vagus nerve, like connection, this three, the Trinity, you can become a code user. You can connect patterns because you use your mind, like the antenna for the mind and your intuition, but you need to like send signals between them both. If this is severed, if this is cut, then you're just in your mind, your sort of mental capacity, or just your heart. So it's very important to have a union of these two, like the dance of the two snakes. But what's interesting is that the Vega star is in the constellation Lyra, and it's in between. I'm pretty sure it's in between Ophiuchus and the Hercules constellation. I need to look that up in a second, but the Vega star is in between these two constellations that represent the heart and the mind. I wish I had a big map in front of me. Vega and Hercules constellation. So yeah, I don't have a map in front of me, but I'm pretty sure the Vega star is in between Hercules, which would represent the mind, or like the eagle, like the air, and then Ophiuchus, which is a serpent bearer, which is to do with our heart. Ophiuchus being the 13th zodiac, the heart being the 4th chakra, which is both for number 4. So it's interesting when I heard that a while ago, that we have the vagus nerve, but then we also have the vagus star, and of course we have Las Vegas too, which is what it tries to do is separate the heart and the mind. So people aren't really thinking what they're doing.
Will that help? Drago, constellation of Lyra. Don't know.
Yeah, I'm trying to find a map on my end as well. Yeah. Well, maybe next time I'll have to try and find one
Everything
of
is behind like the paywall. You have to pay
Oh,
for it.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
At least what I found.
Yeah, as well, like I guess on this topic, Pegasus is also something which I should probably bring up in regards to Caduceus or Mercury or like the messenger of the gods. Because we had in the UK here exercise Pegasus not too long ago, which was about a meningitis outbreak. But if you look at, I did start making a video on this. I uploaded part 1 a couple of months ago. But if you look at the etymology of Pegasus and like the mythology of it, Pegasus. So I'm just trying to find my notes here. So with Pegasus, Pegasus was like a mercurial figure. He went from Earth to planet Olympus, and he was a white winged horse, which is kind of symbolic of the first horseman of the apocalypse, the white horse, because for the other horses or structures or vessels or like power structures to be in play, first our Pegasus, our white horse, would need to be attacked. So in the UK, sorry, I really should have got my notes ready. But
we're talking about this thing and that thing and that thing. You can't have all your notes.
I got it here. So the whole Pegasus thing was about device hacking, and people have spoken about exercise Pegasus, but I haven't heard. I listened to a lot of podcasts. I haven't heard anyone mention all of the different ways in which Pegasus works, because you have to look at the symbology, the mythology, the etymology, the psychology, and the philosophy, like to understand the bigger picture of what's going on. So the myth of Pegasus is very interesting, because Pegasus was tamed by a golden bridle. So there's a myth of Pegasus and Bellerophon, and Bellerophon was sometimes depicted as a giant with a golden sword, and he tamed the wild horse Pegasus with the help of the goddess Athena, who provided a magical golden bridle. After sleeping in her temple, Bellerophon received the bridle in a dream and found Pegasus drinking at the Perine spring near Corinth, where he easily bridled and commanded the horse. So basically, Pegasus represents our etheric body, I believe, because the Rosicrucians said that our etheric body, our life force or chi or prana, was symbolized by a horse, because a horse is a carrier. For example, we have like a horse carriage. That's where we get a car from. It's from a carriage, something that carries. And then now we have cars, which have horsepower. And in ancient Egypt, the car would be the vital essence or life force or chi. So the car is the vessel, and our car is the horsepower, if that makes sense. The Tibetans viewed our spirit as well as a winged horse, I believe, or a white horse. So Pegasus represents our etheric body. and this is what the vampires want to sink their teeth into. We have COVID, which came from a bat to a human. Bats communicate via ultrasound, and they have teeth. So it's very symbolic of sinking their teeth into us from a bat to a human. That's how the virus traveled. Whether the virus was real, whether it was from 5G towers, or whether it was just created by just pure fear alone. But they did manage to sink teeth into people, that's for sure. Yeah, sometimes like 6, 8 times, which drains your life force or chi or prana. So that certainly happened. So with this myth of Pegasus, basically I view Chrysor, this giant, as Elon Musk. And Elon Musk, because in this myth, Chrysor went to Athena's temple, and she gave him a golden bridle. Well, at Bohemian Grove, they do these rituals to this owl called Minerva, which is another name for Athena. Minerva is Rome, Athena is Greek, I think, and she's symbolic of the owl. The owl represents like wisdom. So the temple would be the mind. So Chrysor in this story went into Athena's temple, and basically she gave him a way of taming this horse, this Pegasus, this wild horse who could travel between worlds. So Hesiod relates to how Pegasus was peacefully drinking from the Pierian spring when the hero, there's always a hero, Bellerophon, captured him and eventually tamed him. So I just find this very interesting because this white horse is the reason I bring up Elon Musk is because if you look at the St. George flag, which there was a march here in London, UK, a few months ago or whatever, where Tommy Robinson, real name Stephen Yaxley, had organized this march where everyone was flying the St. George cross, the red cross. Elon Musk was up on the screen saying how great this AI future will be and stuff like that. This was supposed to be a freedom march. Remember, Pegasus is related to freedom and wisdom. This was a freedom march, and Elon Musk was here trying to tame our vessel, trying to tame our etheric body by sinking his vampire teeth into people under the guise of freedom. It's always under the guise of freedom. So anyway, the St. George flag, St. George slayed the dragon, and he was riding a white horse. This white horse would be Pegasus. You can use Pegasus. You can use this guise of freedom to tame people, to slay their dragon. That dragon is probably the Black Dragon of Tartaria, most likely. That was slayed by St. George, the British Empire, which they're trying to carry on wiping out now in Iran, because the Iranians remember the Black Dragon. They remember Tartaria because that's their lineage. So that's the myth of Pegasus. There's also technology and spyware, because Pegasus is the name for the most powerful piece of spyware ever developed, certainly by a private company. Pegasus is a sophisticated spyware that infects iOS devices. Now, you might have heard that people since the jabs in 2020 have been emitting MAC addresses.
They have, yeah.
Okay, so I want to, at the end, after I've just gone through these couple of points, I want to try and tie all these threads together, because some people might not follow, but you've got to understand that this whole Pegasus situation is about hacking us, hacking our devices, because like hacking our vessel, basically. So yeah, Pegasus is a sophisticated spyware that infects iOS devices, often via zero-click exploits requiring no user interaction. It allows attackers to access data, messages, photos, microphones, and camera. Data's our DNA. Our DNA has got a lot of data. Can what's going on with this 6G, which has just been emerging at the beginning of this year when there was this meningitis outbreak, which was this Pegasus scenario? This is about extracting our data, basically. So it was developed by an Israeli firm, NSO Group. It is intended to be sold to governments for tracking criminals and terrorists and has been widely abused. Okay, so that's the technology and spyware and the myth. The exercise Pegasus, which we had here in the UK, in May of this year, it was called Exercise Solaris, but basically that didn't go to plan. So they renamed it in July, Exercise Pegasus. So on the 16th of July, which is the 7/7, as above, so below, the NHS ran Exercise Pegasus. And that finished, I think it was in September or November. But on September the 7th, which is another 7/7, because Sept is a 7. So another 7/7, we had an emergency alert here in the UK where everybody's phone in the UK went off, like a signal. So I'm just kind of connecting all of these threads, like, okay, Pegasus, White Horse, First Horseman of the Apocalypse is white, Pegasus is white. They're running Exercise Pegasus. They're bringing in the structure of the First Horse of the Apocalypse, which is, I can't remember what it represents, but it's probably something to do with disease. Is the first horse either the Christ or the Antichrist? God, do you know what? I can't remember. If anyone in the chat wants to let us know. But I think it's to do with, like, oh yeah, he carries a bow and is given a crown as a figure of conquest, perhaps invoking the Antichrist. So the white horse can either be the Christ or the Antichrist, basically. What the Antichrist is anything which seeks to confine and restrict us and extract our Christos. That's what it is. It's not a person, it's just an energy. So this white horse of Pegasus being freedom, with the Charlie Kirk assassination, which happened in September, when the Algol constellation, when the Pegasus constellation is visible in the sky, this is when this whole thing was rolled out from July to November. That's when Pegasus is in the sky. So these people use astrology because the stars emit frequencies that we can tap into, but we don't. They do. That's why they have power and we don't, because there's power in the constellation and the stars. They're like frequencies. So yeah, that was rolled out during that time. And also during this time, there was the Charlie Kirk assassination in September. And Pegasus was birthed from the neck of Medusa, which is known as the Algol star, which is perhaps where we get the Algol rhythm from the neck, from the vagus nerve. And Pegasus was one of a twin. There was him and Chrysor, this boar. He was a twin, and he was birthed from the neck. Now, Charlie Kirk was wearing a white T-shirt which said freedom on it. Pegasus is a white horse which represents freedom. And when you can't speak, you're a little horse. And he was shot in the neck. There's just some weird energies going on. And like, I don't really want to talk about it all now because I want to like answer questions anyone in the chat or you has. But there's just really interesting stuff. Clearly, the constellation was visible. There's lots of symbology. The main gist, the main point in this I'm trying to make is that COVID, bats, vampires are related to bats. They suck blood. You have vampire bats. It's to do with teeth. There was a meningitis outbreak, which people didn't fall for. That went away. We had Nipah virus in India, which comes from a bat to a human, which causes meningitis-like symptoms. That went away in January. And now we have this hantavirus, which sounds like hunter virus. And Artemis is known as the hunter, and she has a bow and arrow. And there was the moon landing, or moon mission, not landing, whatever it was. The moon represents the subconscious or the wave function. It affects the tides, our emotions. So all that represents, that whole space show, is basically they're going to be manipulating our emotions. How are they going to do that? Well, it seems that they're trying to use hantavirus, which is hunter virus, it sounds like. And the first horse carries a bow. Well, Artemis has a bow, so they're using the energy of Artemis, who is also a twin. You have Artemis and Apollo. Well, Pegasus was a twin. You have Pegasus and Chrysaor, so it's interesting. But what's happening is that there are vampires like Elon Musk, Bill Gates, all of them. They can't exit this realm, so they try to sink their teeth into us and drain our life force and feed off us. In the material, it's called adrenochrome, but beyond that, whether it's in the etheric or astral, they're parasites, and they're taking our life force, and they do this by a subconscious manipulation, like they're trying to do now with this virus, which comes from a rat to a human. 2008 with the banking crash was the year of the rat, and 2020 was the year of the rat. And it's no coincidence that now, exactly 6 years later, they're trying to roll out the same script, basically. They're trying to roll out the same script to put fear in people, so they sink their teeth in. And while we have war, which would be the second horse, the red horse, we're in the year of the fire horse, by the way, as well. Of course, there was going to be war, the year of the fire horse, because the fire horse is the red horse, and that represents war symbolically. So there we go. Iran started in January or February, the beginning of the fire horse. So yeah, there's all that going on, basically, which is this energy crisis which we have at the moment, like to do with fuel and petrol. Well, petrol fuels cars, and in ancient Egypt, you have the car and the car. The car is our vital essence, or life force, or chi, or prana. Now, that is the fuel which they're trying to extract from us, while at the same time, they're stopping us accessing petrol so we can fuel our cars. It's kind of a this and a that. It's like it's the material of access to petrol and stuff, which they're stopping the channel, stop us channeling petrol for our cars. Well, at the same time, they're stopping us channeling petrol for our car. And that petrol, that fuel, is the ether, which is the etheric body. But when we have this chi or prana, we can connect to the aether, which in Tartaria, like not even long ago, people used to be connected to, and we used to get our energy from the aether. And because when we tap into that, but perhaps it's another name for like the all mind, the world soul, because when we tap into that, we can heal people, we can heal ourselves. Like if the aether is the mind or the spirit or the soul, mind over matter is by positively thinking, we can heal ourselves, and that's we can collect that energy and transform it and heal our bodies and heal other people. But the bridge, or like the channeling, the parasites are trying to stop us channeling the all mind, the formlessness. They want us just stuck in solid mind, in matter, in the material, which is kind of this aramanic force, this energy of Araman, basically just matter, which is also realm of shells, because if we're just hollow beings, we believe we have no core, we believe we have no well inside of us, we believe we have no depth, then is it not so? Because belief is everything. And I think they need us to believe that we can't heal ourselves. They need us to outsource our power constantly, that we don't tap into ourselves, thus into the world soul, the aether, the spirit all around us. So yeah, you know, I went off on a couple of little rambles there. I mean, if you've got any questions or anything to add, let me know. It's just there's so many different like avenues to go into. Like I didn't want to go too far into Charlie Kirk, too far into Pegasus. I just want to kind of I prefer just connecting the threads, so then hopefully people can just see it for themselves.
Yeah, I sort of like stopped for a while when you said Aruman, because there is a character called Aruman in the Lord of the Rings. It was just recently I was looking at the podcast where I think there were 3 people discussing about the Lord of the Rings, like how does it represent the current situation in our reality. It was yeah, there was not much else to say about it. I haven't noticed any precise questions in the chat. There's quite a few comments.
Well, I could mention Araman in relation to Lord of the Rings, because, of course, in Lord of the Rings you have Palantir, like you have the Eye of Sauron, which Sauron would represent Araman, and it's very confusing. There's a character called Saruman, because it's Sauron who would represent Araman.
True. Yeah.
You know, constantly observing with that eye. That's the self of Saturn. The eye, the quantitative, the always observing. That's the shadow of Saturn, I believe. And we have all of the rings of Saturn. Lord of the Rings. Well, what is a ring? A ring is a frequency. So the Lord of the Rings is the Lord of the frequencies. And one ring to rule them all would be one frequency to rule them all, or everybody being the same frequency. That's what Araman is. It's the we energy. It's public health. It's we're all in this together. It's the collective soup. We don't have our own individual spark. We're shells, and we just need global governance to tell us what to do. That's what that energy is. And Palantir, the corpse operation, the corporation, that run by Peter Thiel, which is an anagram of reptile. He said he paused for a long time, and he was like, somebody asked him, do you think humans should carry on existing? And it took him a long time, and he's openly said that he takes adrenochrome as well. So they're using this all-seeing eye to basically track and trace and constantly observe everything that's going on in this realm. This is what the false matrix is. This false matrix grid being built before our very eyes, funded by our money. Here in the UK, our NHS budget is giving like 360 million pounds to Palantir, and all of this is to do with just tracking and testing and tracing. And you have the smart dust, which is called MEMS, and they just basically want to implant false memories in us. Even by doing so, they don't need to do anything other than gaslight us, because really, like, about to implant, you need to take away. So we have a flame inside of us. We have our divine spark, our Christos. The Antichrist, which Peter Thiel did a private talk about, what is the Antichrist? I'd love to have heard that, because it's you, mate. Peter Thiel, you're part of the Antichrist. They seek to extract this. And with alchemy, like with a plant, you use gas to extract the oil from the plant. You use gas to extract the essence. Okay, we're a plant, we're a seed. They're using gaslighting to extract our essence. So if that makes sense. So they're gaslighting.
Now that you put it that way, yeah.
Yeah, they're gaslighting us. Not going to talk about gas chambers, because there's other people that I like. I don't. That certainly happened to an extent, but to what extent? And are we being gaslit now? Like, things are done. Actually, that's probably a road I shouldn't go down, because I don't want to annoy people. But because people hide behind things too. Like, they say, all of these people, all these technocrats, they say they're Jewish, but they're not really Jewish. They're hiding behind something, because if you say anything against it now, you're called an anti-Semite, which Semitic is Arabic people, so it'd be Palestinian, Iranian, stuff like that too. But they say that they're the only ones, so they're hiding behind that. And if you mention anything, they'll say, well, oh, look what happened to them, the gas chambers and stuff. But are we being gaslit by that? I'm not to say it didn't happen, but you can still use something that happened to gaslight people, and it's just the word gas comes up. So that's why I'm bringing it up, because you have gas chambers, and now they're gaslighting us to do whatever they like. So basically, we get gaslit by, like, for example, like climate change, saying, oh, if we don't do this, the world's going to end. We just need to give our power away. Or like with COVID, 2 more weeks to flatten the curve. Oh, it's just going to be elderly people. Oh, actually, it's just going to be these. Now we need to inject newborn babies, which I don't think they quite got to that point. I mean, some people might have let them inject their 6-month-old babies, but that's awful. Like, that's what these vampires want. It even goes beyond babies. They want to change our DNA. This is what Project Stargate is about. This is what Elon Musk's Starlink, because our eyes, these are called irises. Iris is a mercurial figure. Iris is a goddess. So an ancient Greek goddess of the rainbow, a messenger of the Olympian gods. She served as a colorful bridge connecting heaven and earth, a rainbow bridge. Well, that comes up in what is it? It's not Ragnarok, but it's in Norse mythology. You have a rainbow to get to Valhalla. There's a rainbow you have to cross.
We have a river.
A river, yeah?
Yeah, we have a river.
We spoke about that earlier. Yeah. It's always water. Yeah.
Yeah, at least in our, like, the Finnish mythology, it's the river. I don't remember hearing about a rainbow.
Well, with a rainbow, that's you get a rainbow with water and light when it's raining and light. So the water and light are like synonymous. Our light travels on water, so like light travels on water. Whether it's the dark waters all around us and there's dark matter, light seems to travel on that. And when we pass on our light, our divine spark travels on water. So I guess it would make a rainbow. I'm just quickly checking rainbow and Valhalla. Oh yeah, I can't find anything about that. I'm not gonna try looking now because it doesn't really make a great conversation. It's fine sometimes doing research on the spot, but there's plenty of other stuff for us to talk about.
Too long.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So this is why I try to get to the essence of things, and this is why I try to look at the multiplicity of things as well. So when somebody says like I can't remember the name, for example, like an Indian god or a Norse god, I try and find the common thread between them.
Yeah, that's in the Norwegian mythology, the rainbow. It's a bridge that connects Midgard, the earth, and Asgard, the kingdom of the gods.
Yeah.
So it's not like downwards, it's upwards. But this is just the quickest.
Where does it say upwards?
Because the idea is sort of like the earth being the middle realm and the dead being down and the gods being up. So the rainbow is reached to the upper layers and not to the but Norwegian mythology is not my my masterpiece. Yeah. But to travel to the lands of the dead, there is a river to cross in our mythology, in the Finnish mythology.
So rivers you cross. So it's the same as like crossing the river Styx. Those 5 rivers as well are very interesting. 5 rivers of Hades. One is called the river Styx. One is Lethe. One is Acheron, which sounds like Archon. Where are the other ones? Wait, there are 2 other rivers which I swear I've never seen before. But Pluto's moons. So Pluto has 5 moons, and there are 5 rivers that you have to cross over when you pass on. Pluto represents Hades and the underworld. So Pluto's moons are interesting because you have Charon. He's the one that carries you across the rivers. You have Nyx, which is the primordial goddess of night, darkness. You have Styx, which is the river that Charon carries you across. You have Kerberos, which is, you swap the K and the C, you get Cerberus, which is the 3-headed dog. And you have Hecate, who's one of her animals is black dogs. And you have the 3, the tri-cross. So I'm sure there's some kind of connection between Cerberus and Hecate there. And then you have Hydra. And Hydra is the many-headed snake, like dragon or whatever, water dragon. So it's really interesting that you have these kind of relations to Pluto and to this myth. Obviously, they're named after these mythologies. But what was my point in saying that? I can't remember my point.
This is a flow. We're lost in translations here.
Yeah, well, for example, like with this Saturn, we've got a question here, I think. Tom Ruhr, arc on. An arc on thoughts or across it. Who controls your thoughts and emotions? If it's you, then who controls the archon? If it ain't you, the archon or in thought controls you. Yeah, well, the arc is it can be like a bow, like a vessel or a carrier, like Noah's Ark being a boat or a ship, a boat being very similar to a bow, like that, the arc, that's the shape of the boat. And an arc is also a story. And a story is a store of energy. Like in the library is where the light is buried and you open up a book, that opens up a whole world, which is light. Light is information. So, and then the on is another name for the sun or light as well. So arc on is the the vessel of the light, or the carrier of the light, or the story of the light. The archon are rulers. Perhaps I did write something really long about this. I've just been very slack making videos and content because I like having conversations with people rather than just filming myself. But I'm gonna start doing that because I've got so much stuff to say about so many things that I need to start recording myself. But the archon relates to our DNA, I believe, and our patterns are like the patterns of our DNA, because that is where our story is. Our store of energy, our coding is our DNA, and that a lot of our DNA is dormant or so-called junk. But these parasites, these so-called archons, or rulers, they can rule us through our DNA by making us follow these patterns that we wouldn't usually follow. Because I relate the DNA to the subconscious and conscious mind, because our subconscious is about 95%, and our DNA is about 95. Our junk or dormant DNA is 95%. So they're the same. And our DNA is light in water, and our subconscious is related to water. Hence, when we die and cross worlds, we travel on water, because we've got to go through the subconscious, which is the rest of our mind, which that's like the backstage. We've kind of disconnected ourselves, or it's been disconnected from us. And that's where the manipulation happens. That's the pattern that we fall into, the patterns, which in turn help is how we construct the matter, is through the patter. Like pater is means father in both Sanskrit and Latin. So you have like pitter patter of like the raindrops, of the rain, of like control of like the archons and rulers. Well, we have pitter patter of light codes coming down from the sun, from above, from father sun. So pitter patter. And then we have the matter, the matter being the mother, the matrix, the womb in which we're in is the mother. And then the matter is the frequency, because we're in a frequency. We're in a frequency that we frequently see. This light comes into water in which we're in. The light comes into water. The light comes through water into whatever we're in. Matrix, womb, seed, egg, whatever. We're in somewhere where we're able to grow, and there's efforts to stop us growing. That much is clear. So you have the pitter patter, light codes come down, and then the matter to frequency. That's outside of us, but inside of us, our DNA is light in water. And in water, if you have a frequency, you can create light. It's like the oldest creation story. In the beginning was the word. There's always been the primordial waters. And if you have a frequency, you create light. Stars are created in the darkness. So our DNA is like a star, or soul. Our sun is soul, and sun are the same. Our soul is in water, and this water is the well inside of us, is our subconscious. And if we go into our subconscious, into the well, the depths, we'll be able to ignite our spark. And I think that this is to do with the fall of Sophia, because she fell through 13 aeons, supposedly. And 13 is related to mem, which means water. And for a seed to grow, it needs both mem and ori, memory, water and light. Mem of the water, the Sophia, and the ori of our patterns, of our light codes. And the sun helps activate our light codes. But if it can't get through the water, if we don't let this energy go into us to activate, we're going to have dormant coding inside of us. And how we activate this is by becoming code users, the codeusers, by having the balance of the energies and having an anchor point and letting stuff vortex around us, not getting caught up in the this or the that. Just being grounded, I guess. And being grounded, you can do it by being connected to the earth. You can do it by being connected to water, holding your hand under a tap, connecting to the trees. But you can also do it with your psyche by being connected to the psy-stem, where our psyche stems from, our roots, our lineage, which is the heart, which is the earth, which is this realm. And if you have certain concepts to ground yourself, not to say that you're going to be fixed in one perspective, but that you have a pin and your mind can look around and you can have a 360-degree perspective rather than getting a black cube on your head and having 1 degree and being an expert in one field but being ignorant to the rest. If you're grounded in your mind's eye, you can acknowledge the field all around us, which is the 99%, which is waters all around us, which is also inside of us, which is pure potential, which is our coding inside of us. But unfortunately, we only use a little bit of this coding. And unfortunately, the rest of the coding is manipulated by this parasitic elite because they've perfected systems over however many years, But what's interesting with the fall of Sophia is something I've been looking into recently, is I think it connects with the flood and the Younger Dryas, because that happened about 11,400 years, was it 12,000 years ago? Younger Dryas. The Younger Dryas, 13 to 12,000 years ago. So supposedly Sophia fell to the first Aeon and she was trapped for 11,000 years. So say for example that the Younger Dryas happened 12,000 years ago and she was trapped for 11,000. That means there would be 1,000 years. So I'll start off by saying 1,000 years has been added to our timeline. The millennial reign of Sophia or Christ happened 1,000 years ago. So if we look at her being trapped for 11,000 years, she would have been released in the reign of Christ, which is an energy, not a person. Maybe a person and an energy. If you look at all of the beautiful architecture, like Tartarian architecture, Ea is another name for earth, and Tar means to be connected to. We're more connected to the earth and this sphere, this Sophia, in which we're in, this place where we cultivate our wisdom. We're more connected to that. Something happened. And I think that the flood that happened 12,000 years ago, there was a reset 12,000 years ago, maybe. Perhaps that's what happened in Atlantis. Perhaps Atlantis was like Tartaria. We were connected to the earth.
Perhaps it was Hyperborea. Perhaps it was anything, but something was deleted, flushed away.
There was an erase, a wipe, a flooding, something was buried. Well, I can't help but think the story of Sophia was that burying, and then the sort of uncovering or the emerging happened around the year 0, whatever, 1,000 years ago, not 2,000 years ago, 1,000 years ago.
Yeah.
And that there's another kind of something happening now, but it's not being buried by water. It's being buried by air, which is AI, which is the mind, and which is taking, like with a psyop, psychological operation. You have PSI, which is pounds per square inch, which is to do with like when you're diving, like the air that you need to breathe when you're deep diving. Well, there seems to be a kind of extraction of this air, so people don't want to dive deep. They're just up on the surface. They want surface level information. They want quick fix from the artificial, from the AI. So they're creating this false grid layer now, so that's harder for us to access our spark. But the thing is, it's only just been buried. Like, I think before Sophia, our spark was buried for thousands of years. Well, it emerged 1,000 years ago, and they're trying to bury it now. But there's a war. Maybe war isn't the right word. There's like a battle going on, that they're trying to suppress something that people don't even know they have. But the thing is that only a few people need to have this. I'm not going to use 12D or anything. I could maybe use 5D, because we know that this is 3-dimensional, and then the 4th dimension is time, which is Saturn, and then the 5D is beyond time. And I like to use that because we need to see beyond time, because sometimes people are so caught up in timelines of this and that, quantitative linear. It's like time does not behave how we think it behaves. We're timeless beings. We're not bound by time. We're moving through time, and time we can use time, but they've demonized it. Like, we're running out of time. They've demonized Saturn, saying it's Satan, and they use the energy of Saturn. They just don't want us using it. But we have to. That's the bridge. That's the force. That's the morphing of this time and space, because everything will come to pass within time, but the time is now for us to do this, which is Kairos time, the north, magnetic north of Saturn. The magnetic is the feminine. This is the feminine. Saturn used to be a feminine energy, and now it's very, very masculine, Chronos, like linear time. Not the case. It could be both. I view Saturn as Zervan, cosmic time, infinite time, the potential, both the yin and the yang. And then you have Ahriman, which is Chronos, which is the south of Saturn. And then you have Ahura Mazda, the good, which is Kairos, which is the north of Saturn. And that Kairos time means like now, or flow time. And with this bridging of worlds or realities, we have the formlessness, which I spoke about, which is like the plasma, or like the chaos, the infinite potential, which is demonized, so they don't want us going there. But that's the 99%, and we are the 99%. We are the chaos they fear. We have this bridge, or where the morphing happens, where we can channel this chaos and bring it into order, bring it into matter, bring it into the mother, into the womb. And I think that structured water has a huge part to play on this. And it's interesting that coats our DNA. That's the North Pole of Saturn. Saturn is time and space. How we perceive light and space, there's so much more interesting stuff in this realm than people are made to believe. Like, there's so much kind of like doom and fear, and for most people that is like, we're running out of time, there's this psyop, there's that, there's a lot of evil stuff in the world. That's correct. But my original point with this, what I was saying, was that I made a little poem a while ago about a lighthouse, and I'd love to find it to read to you, which kind of explains this. Perhaps I'll do that at the end if I can't find it in the next couple of minutes.
Yeah.
I'll just
mention that. Yeah, please do if you find it. That's so many interesting things that you said. But the one thing that caught me really thinking deeply was that they are doing it by air now, and I sort of realized that there's been mud flood, there's been flood with water, there's been massive fires. And if we are being reset or captivated now with air, all we lack is metal to have like the elements.
Yeah, well,
The metals are sort of like they are pouring with the rain, all the aluminium and all that, which is like the chemtrails and all that. And just that my mind got like puzzled with this idea.
2020 was the year of the metal rat. And with metals, in regards to alchemy and turning lead into gold, what we were talking about with Saturn, because Saturn's metal is lead, but it used to be known as the sun. I'm pretty sure Saturn has links to the black sun, and that's how we access the black sun, is through Saturn, through traveling these rivers of time and space to connect to our black sun, the well, the depth inside all of us. And they've made us fear death because they don't want us to die. But we should be shedding our skin multiple times. We should be dying constantly, changing. Like, that's all dying is. We don't need to be afraid of that. We should be constantly changing and evolving while we're alive and traveling these rivers, which are neural pathways in the all mind, which are out there and in here. When you learn new stuff, your brain rewires itself and you're able to pick up on more frequencies. That is what is higher, is the amping the frequency, which is more frequencies, which is able to tune into more frequencies. So sorry, what did you originally say? Because I started just tuning out and I constantly
it's okay. I was just wondering, like, from the historic perspective, all the reasons.
Well, I'll just quickly say, with 2020, it was the year of the metal rat. And why I mentioned Saturn and alchemy of turning lead into gold is that, so in 2020, there was a huge shift to LED lighting, which is blue light, which is lead, which is heavy, which is dense, which has a really fast flicker rate, which messes with our morphing, which messes with us bringing things into reality, because there's like really fast flicker rate. And also the blue light kind of pulls light. So rather than there being more, like, it's a brighter light, but it's the false light, whereas the other light would be more kind of orange or deep, like different kind of hue. So this kind of, they've tried to turn this energy around us more dense using LED lighting, like LED lighting, and transmuting the lead to gold is, well, we've been led in a direction which is away from our true authentic selves. That's where we've been led, and the gold is the goal. Our goal is to change path, because we've been led somewhere, because I was talking about the myth of Pegasus. Our etheric body, or our life force chi, had a golden bridle put on it. We've been bribed, and we've had a rein put on us, and we've had this coding which has been used against us to basically sleepwalk through life so far. And the goal is to turn around and say, we don't want to go there. We want to go inwards. We want to go inwards to find our gold, our spark within. And we do this by using Saturn. And Saturn used to be gold. Now it's lead. And the gold is to do with, well, gold, first of all, is linked to water, because you have the currency of the monetary system, which was based on gold. Gold carries an electric current. Water has a current. It's a wave. So gold and water are linked. Water is number 13. That's why the 13th tarot card is death, and it's linked to Saturn, because that's water. And then you also have 13 being mem in Hebrew, which means water. Gold's atomic number is AU, which equals a 13. I can't remember why. U number. So U is, I can't remember, but anyway, the A is a number 1, and the U I think equals a 21, which is, no, a 12 or something. But anyway, they're both number 13, which I find interesting. And the thing is with water is it has different densities. So the waters below the earth, or there's oceans inside the oceans, they're so dense we can't get into them. The water up there is so dense that we can't get past it either, because as far as I'm concerned, water is everywhere. It's infinite. There's not water and then a vacuum. There's water everywhere, but it's different densities. And that this is to do
with the humidity in the air could be seen as light water or less dense water.
It is. It is. Yeah. There's water all around us. There's water coats our blood cells. We're like 99% molecularly water or whatever. We see through water. If you put cucumbers on your eyes, that's really good for your eyes, because cucumber and fruits and vegetables and stuff contain plasma water. So it's a myth you need to drink like 8 glasses of water a day. You just need to drink the right water, which is structured water, and have like good water. If you put soaked chia seeds in a glass of water for like at least half an hour, probably the longer the better. You drink that in the morning, and throughout the day, the chia seeds will be releasing plasma water throughout your body. So you don't need to drink loads and loads of water. You just need to drink the right water. And as our blood is plasma flowing through our body, through our veins, like water is all to do with flow. And when we die, we can flow through water. And I don't mean when we like end our life here. I mean, as we change our perception of reality, things can become less dense, and we can go beyond what's called the firmament. We can go beyond that and bring other realities here, other ways of being, because everything here comes from the formless. Everything here comes from the unseen until it's brought into matter. And that's why there's so much to take our perception, like grab our attention, which changes our perception. This is what all this AI and stuff is all about, grabbing our attention like a quick fix, But yeah, you started saying something about like us being reset by water and by fire, and now it's
I was just thinking about the Atlantis was sort of like sank, and then the Tartaria was buried under a mud flow. So the mud would be earth. Then there's water, which sort of like flooded, like the Noah stories and all that. And there's been massive fires, like a fire of London, a fire of this and that city, like around the 1666 was, I believe, the London fire. There's been plenty of fires in Finland. All the big libraries have been burned down. So if they use this sort of like came to my mind because you said that we are being blocked or resetted by the air, like the 5G, 6G. So I was sort of like, this was like a mismatch in my brain about the what are these? The earth, wind, fire, water, like the elements. That's the word I'm looking. So
yeah,
that was it basically.
Yeah, well, it seems like it's either air or like metal, because they seem to be putting like nanotech is like metal, and that could like wipe us out or wipe our memory. Like I mentioned earlier, that this nanotech is called MEMS.
And making us like receive the 6G radiation better, making us magnetic in a different way, because They are
Yeah.
spraying us with the aluminum and nanobots and all that, which is like inside our cells nowadays.
Yeah. The nanotech, the smart dust is called nano. No, wait. Micro electromechanical systems, MEMS, and of course, MEMS is memory. And I'm not sure if there's like, I guess all we can do to stop this in my mind's eye is if they're spraying this stuff everywhere, it's in like in whatever. The only thing we can do is let it flow through us, let it go, and because these metals like will like weigh us down, and I think that the only way we combat, because I like to look at polarities and just be in the center and let them spin and see what comes up. So we have lead and we have gold, alchemy, turning lead to gold. Well, if this lead, this smart dust, this heavy metals, the only way to combat that is by burning it away with our flame or dissolving it. And I think that this burning away, this dissolving is this chaos. And I think that these MEMS, this tracking, tracing everywhere is the order. And the only way that we combat it is by igniting our dragon and breathing fire. And or like shining our light basically, which is in the darkness. So the MEMS is the heavy metals, and there are detox protocols that you can do that we probably need to be doing more so now than ever before. But at the same time, just like in my mind's eye, just if we ignite our spark, I think that's what will dissolve this technology, this like sort of like program which they're trying to put onto this realm. You know, so yeah, whether it's metal or air. I say air because air is related to the mind or the spirit, and I think that can either save us or enslave us. And the thing is that they've always been things done to cage our hearts and enslave our minds. Our hearts caged, minds enslaved. Always, like the priest class, now the technocrats. But with these vampires, they can only enter if you let them. And they need us to let them. And when these psyops happen and it's called out, people do research, share it, but like that is breathing their fire, that's igniting their flame, that's being code users is seeing the coding, be it mechanical, the magic, the spell behind things, and being vocalized and speaking out about it, sort of just makes it dissolve and disappear. And we use our minds. Our minds are very powerful. Our minds are so powerful that we can bring things into this realm which don't exist yet, just by thoughts, by imagination, by thinking. And I think that's the only thing that will save us, because I mentioned about mind over matter, our minds healing our body. If we think that there's nanotech everywhere, and if you think that all this stuff is happening, if we think that it's all doom and gloom and stuff, that's not beneficial to us.
Nope.
It's one, we can recognize it and be like, yeah, this is going on, talk openly. But like if it's from a place of fear, that's kind of like heavy and dense. If we learn to sow fear by using sow fear, wisdom, we see this false evidence appearing real. We can connect these pieces together, and then we can see the spell. Because the way that these vampire, dark occultists work is they try to put a veil over us. They try to pull the wool over our eyes. And I kind of use this phrase like, to see the tapestry, which is reality clearer, we need to tap into the tree. the tap is the tree. And this ties into Yggdrasil as well, and the three fates being at the well of the tree, at the roots, and that this is the three fates of the past, present, and future. And that when we tap into the tree or the psy-stem, like the psy being related to the psyche and where it stems from, we can pick up on these subtle forces which seek to lead us astray. And we can see whether it's connecting us back to our ancestry, our roots, our core, or whether it's leading us astray. So it's either our ancestry or astray. But it's this stem, it's our roots that we need to be going back towards. And we do that by tapping into it. And how we tap into it is by branching out, if that makes sense. So what do I mean by this? So basically the well has been poisoned, but there's smart dust, memes, planting false memories, maybe there's false history, there's gaslighting. Outsourcing our power has become extremely dangerous because it seems to be this false light. So the only way to help see with clarity, like we see through water, there's no coincidence, because seeing with clarity is using water, tapping into our waters and going into the depth, the well of the tree, where the past, present, and future are, because it's all one and the same. Things from the past are happening now. All these mythologies, I hear them and I'm like, that's happening right now. And then the future, who knows? We're creating the future now. But all that really happens is now. And that psy-stem is the root of the tree. And by connecting to the roots, we can branch out further. And sea and seed are not too different. Like when we emerge from the seed, we can see, and when we branch out, we can drop more seeds, so we can see more clearly with clarity that the tapestry that's being created, because we can have one degree and see one perception, one kind of thing that's going on. That if we learn to have 360 degrees, we can see more clearly, because really the programming happens behind us, over our shoulder, like the subconscious, the backstage where the veil is, and the veil is getting thinner, which means that it's clearer for us to see, but perhaps it's easier for the subconscious to manipulate us because there's no veil. The subconscious conscious mind are merging so that we can see the programming in the world. But for those that don't see, perhaps, well, no, the point I'm trying to make is that using this formlessness behind the veil, the unseen, the morphine and the form, perhaps now more than ever, it's easier for us to bring things into reality. And then perhaps the elite are doing that, but we're not, because people don't know how to do it. They think that people don't know how to use their minds, because we've not been trained to do so. We've not been initiated. We don't understand the mysteries. We dream in symbols. We're very symbolic. We don't understand what symbols mean, because symbols speak 1,000 words and stories and stuff. Mythology, we're told that, oh, that's just a myth, it's not real. So there's been so much to disconnect us. But from my perspective, what's really helped me is etymology, symbology, philosophy, and psychology, like all the G's. That's how I've managed to connect to my inner guides, my inner God, inner gnosis, whatever, the G. And gods are guides. And there are many, like Hecate I mentioned, the keeper of keys. One of her animals is the black dog, which is like Anubis. Anubis is related to the afterlife and the crossing of the threshold, weighing the heart with the feather of Mat. And even the word Anubis is Anu, abyss. The Anu is the sky, and the abyss is the depths. So it's the kind of bridge of the heavens and the earth, the subconscious and the conscious, or whatever. So Hecate and Anubis, I'm very close to, because Hecate seems to look out for the underdog, and of course that's why she has black dogs, because the black dog is the underdog, is the Anubis, is to do with the underworld and the guardians of thresholds and stuff. And she's one of the many goddesses which has been demonized. And I just view these energies as like egregores, like this realm is potentially an egregore. An egregore is a thought form which, when lots of people believe it comes into matter. Well, when lots of people believe what's happening in this egg, it comes into matter. So perhaps this realm is an egg, a giant egregore. Who knows? Who knows?
Who knows, definitely. But it's our duty to wonder, what if that is? What if that other thing is? Yeah, we've been live for 2.5 hours now. And there's so many things we haven't even touched upon yet, but maybe if we pick one, because there's this word bridge of worlds that you chose to the title, and maybe you could explain a little bit more about the bridge of worlds, just to sum everything up for today.
Sure. Well, I've kind of touched on it throughout our conversation.
You did. Oh, yes.
So, the bridge is how we connect from one world to another, or from one concept to another. Like the liminal is a bridge, like liminal spaces. Hecate is related to liminal spaces too, which I view as waterways, because I'm very connected to water, so I'm just using that as an example. But like you mentioned, in many stories, it's water which is connected to the bridge of worlds. And of course, over water, there's a bridge. Usually there's bridges, but then we have stories of trolls being under the bridge. The trolls is like when people are trolling online and stuff, they're usually gaslighting people. So what the troll does under the bridge is it stops us crossing over the bridge, because it's gaslighting us. So if you can see where I'm going with this, is when we cross bridges, we build bridges, we create new neural pathways, and that's how we see 360 directions: up, down, left, right, in, out, shake it all about, whatever. It's this kind of like perception of multi-dimensional, 5-dimensional perception beyond time. So we gaslit, or these trolls stop us crossing bridges, and these bridges connect worlds. So I view, because I love etymology, I've used the 4 same letters. So you have the formlessness, which is from, where everything is from. And then we have the morph, the MORF. And then we have the form. So I've used the same 4 letters: from, morph, and form. So you have the from, the morphing, the form. The form morphs and goes back to where it's from. It's the cycle. This is the trinity. This is the vortex of life. There's a word for it. Is it catharsis? I'm not sure. But this is the dance. And we are vessels. We're the bridge of worlds. We're in this world, but we have the ability to bring things, concepts, and ideas from other worlds into this reality. We're all channelers, all of us. And some people channel other beings and stuff. But we're all able to channel other worlds into this reality. And whether it's other worlds, I'm hesitant to say, because it's multi-dimensional. Like a tree has many different branches, but at the end of the day, I think we're all from the same thing. We all have a unique signatures, but we're all from the same thing. And I think that I just view this reality as like a toroidal field. Perhaps it's an egg shape. And it's like it's a tree like that, which goes out and down and up. It's like this. And that when we can tap into the stem, the main root, and follow these different branches, we have an anchor point where all things are from. That's the essence of all things. That all the branches are all different. But when we're able to access the trunk, the stem, it can go out into other worlds, down into the underworld, up into the heavens and down again. It's the constant motion. And by using this bridge, we can, which is the morph, it's the crossing the threshold. You know, the hero's journey, the bridge would be where he goes into the innermost cave. Like that's where you cross over. And as humanity, we're at a bridge right now. The X, the crossroads, right now. The number 1 year, 10X, Elon Musk, SpaceX, X this, X that, because he's trying to bridge worlds. He wants to bring these demons into this world. These demons are AI, they're artificial, they're lifeless, they're vampires, they seek to take life from us. And yet, at the same time, we're able to bring things into this realm too, but we've been squashed down, made docile. Anything to do with the feminine has been demonized. You have negative being feminine. You have the darkness, feminine. You have the underworld. Even like water has been like bottled, and we used to have like there used to be many drink water points in towns and not cities, like towns and stuff. In the 1800s, we used to be able to drink water from the earth. So we were connected to the earth. We let it flow through us. Now they've all been closed off, and we're not able to connect to that well. So it's harder for us to connect to the well inside ourselves, because inside ourselves is inside of the earth, because we are of the earth. But we can still connect to it. They've just made it harder by poisoning the well, by bottling water, putting it in shops, shining an LED light on it, which dehydrates the water, dehydrating our water inside of us by 5G, 6G, EMFs, stuff like that. They're basically trying to dehydrate us. If you look at Mars, it's dry. It's like a desert. Elon Musk going to Mars, he wants that energy here. We have data centers which are using so much water. Perhaps there'll be water shortages, which the World Economic Forum have already mentioned, even though under the earth there's like 3 times as much on the surface. Water is infinite. Water doesn't die, it just changes form. That's why they don't want us tapping into water, tapping into the well of the earth, drinking water from the earth. They want us drinking tap water, which has all of their poisons and heavy metals and stuff in it. So my point of this is that this bridge, this morphing, they're connecting to it. And I believe that this bridge relates to our etheric body, which is to do with structure, which is like this fiery water plasma around us, as it is around our DNA. And I think that this bridge is our etheric body. This bridge is the water around our DNA. This bridge is the plasma around the whatever this is, this realm. So we have the ether of the world, of the earth, ionosphere, plasma body, aka Tiamat, the energy that we can tap into. We have the etheric body around us, which is our dragon energy, which we can tap into. And we have the plasma water around our DNA inside of us, which, when activated, is dragon energy. Like, it all comes down to this dragon life force, this chi. And the dragon is the one that guards the gold of the innermost cave. The dragon guards the threshold, and they've managed to tame our dragon, make it docile. They can enter the cave and extract our gold, our loosh, our life force. And they can use that gold as currency, as the current, to build their AI infrastructure. But the thing is that this well inside of us, this gold, this spark, has infinite potential. They can only extract so much. So we really have all the power. But people don't realize it because all this stuff is so layered. And science or scientism has taken over. And people are like, oh, I don't believe in that, or oh, prove it and stuff. And the thing is, like, you can't use these mechanical tools to show the magic. And there's a lot of mechanical people on the world stage and doing podcasts and stuff who say, oh, this isn't that because of that, or oh, don't use astrology because it's a trap. Why are they using astrology if it's a trap? Why do they use the stars? Because as we have our DNA inside water, above us, they are stars, they're lights in water, and they're frequencies that we can tap into. And it's not about escaping, it's about integrating. And we can create anything here in this realm. We can create anything here. It's not about leaving and escaping and exiting the matrix. It's about observing the false matrix and realizing that the matrix means womb, and that's what we're in, and this life is a gift, and that there's a parasite that's leaked into our realm. It's not about us escaping this realm and going back to our home planet of where the fuck ever. This is our home planet, and there's an invasion. We're in the middle of a war, and this war is layered. And they drain our astral body, they drain our emotional body, so they can sink our teeth into our etheric body, extract our life force. And so we walk around like drones, like trance humans in a trance. And that is the end game. And you can see it happening in real time. So whether it's stories about the demiurge being created or Marduk slaying Tiamat, it's happening now. Marduk, Elon Musk, Mars is trying to slay our dragon, which is Tiamat, which is the plasma, which is the ionosphere, which protects us, which is the ionosphere plasma layer around us, plasma layer around our DNA. They want to weaken our etheric body. They want to mess with our DNA, but first they need to get through the plasma layer, and first they need to extract that from us. So, it's multi-layered, but my 2 cents that I'll finish up with is, as above, so below, as within, so without. The stars above, the constellations, are frequencies. They're light in water. We can tap into them. We can tune into them. They are outside of the firmament. There's much done to stop us accessing these light codes, because I believe that these constellations and things outside of the firmament can help activate what's in our DNA, our light codes, because we have light in here, and I think that light comes through and activates something in our DNA. This is why they want to block out the sun. This is why they've got so many Starlink satellites, because this Starlink is a bridge between us and the stars. So that to me, or to anyone else, surely proves that they're trying to create a bridge between us and the stars or other worlds, and accessing what's outside of the firmament. So they're trying to destroy the firmament, or destroy the ionosphere. They're trying to weaken our etheric body. by sinking their teeth into it, by draining us emotionally so they can get into it. And they're trying to mess with our DNA. So it's all multi-layered. So sometimes it's hard to talk about because it's like I can't just say bridge of worlds. I've got to be like, it's in our DNA. Our DNA is the bridge of worlds and how we access this. And our etheric body, our life force, our chi, our prana, our dragon energy is what enables us to access higher worlds. And they want to, at the same time as messing up with the aether, our plasma layer, they're weakening that, shooting up rockets to try and destroy it so they can leave or let their demons come in material. And at the same time, they're weakening this, because I think that as it's the three of inside, here, and outside, this is the most powerful bridge of all. And we are the bridge, and we are the guardians of Midgard. And we have Asgard, other dimensions, and we have the what's the other one? the underworld, whatever. But this is certainly a bridge that we're in now. The earth is an anagram of the heart. The heart is a vortex. This realm is a vortex. The heart seems to be a bridge. It seems the heart is in between the gut and the mind, and the vagus nerves goes through it. This relates to our toroidal field. We have a toroidal field around the earth. We have a toroidal field around us. It's this field that they want to get their claws into so that they can create, if that makes sense. I mean, I could talk about that for a lot longer, but I think that this is all stuff I'm learning about. And it's, when I say learning, I can kind of understand how it all works, but it's one thing using your intuition to like pick up on what's going on, but it's another thing you have to train yourself to be able to vocalize it and talk about it. So I hope like stuff I've spoken about today has found people well, because I can understand there's a lot of things and a lot of concepts, and it takes time. Like you have to go into it, sit with it and connect it. But at first, when you have a 360-degree spectrum vision, it's blurry. So stuff I've said today, the frequency I've emitted, which ripples through the water to wherever you are, is gonna be blurry. But like the more and more you hear stuff and look into things and sort of expand, the clearer it becomes. So if people don't really get what I'm talking about today, in the YouTube comments, ask some questions. I'll be happy to answer them at a later stage or next time I come back on. But I don't claim to say this is how reality works. I'm just using different frameworks to be like, let's flip this concept on its head and see how it looks from a different perspective, because that's our most powerful force, is our thoughts and our perception of reality and ourselves.
You are definitely on fire today. And finding how to vocalize all these ideas and different views, just to stir up a bit, making us wonder yet another perspective into this existence that we have. And I'm especially grateful for your mind over matter. Sort of like I visualized it differently when you said that the mind has a body. Sort of like, even though I knew it, but there was something in those words that you put it that made a lot of sense in my mind, which is like not here, but all around. Yeah, mind has a body. I have to sit with that for a while. It's really been great.
I mentioned that perhaps the earth is the body for the all mind as well as our body. Yeah, because the matter is also related to the body as well. So is the black cube. The black cube represents matter, and that's to do with the body or the structure, or like the material. and that's just a reflection of the mind, of the all mind is all around us. Before I go and we wrap up, I just want to say to people that for a long time I've really wanted to work with people, and like kind of just help people, help guide them in one way or another. I'm no expert in any field, but very often I shift people's perception of reality and themselves. So I'm just gonna, this is the first time I'm saying this, but if anyone does feel a bit stuck or stagnant, sometimes it really helps just to have somebody to talk to kind of to flip something or to shift your perception. So I'm gonna say that like the first 2 people to reach out to me, I'll be happy to like work with them like for free if you feel a bit stuck in any way or whatever. And my dream is to be able to charge people for this, but right now I don't feel comfortable doing that because I'm still learning. I think I'd love to learn by helping people, and if I do help people, maybe like make a little video or something like that. And then like I've been meaning to say this for ages, but I think that's a great place to start. I just need to reach out now, say if anyone gets this bit stuck or stagnant, because there's so many people out there charging a hell of a lot of money, and to be honest with you, lots of them are spewing nonsense. Lots of them have agendas. Some of them are like spreading fear so that you reach out to them, do their courses, which cost thousands of pounds. I don't really want to make money off people. My money, currency, energy is when I see that look in people's eyes where they're like, where they just shifted their perception. Obviously, making money would be great, but right now I just like to work with a couple of people and see if I'm good at that on a one-to-one basis, maybe in groups in the further point. But I just see so many people doing it online and charging so much money, and I just want to help people, and that's my purpose and my goal in life. And on my human design, it's about bridging spirit and matter. That's why I'm so focused on talking about the spirit and the matter and how we use those energies. So what's up, Howard? Howard's only just caught the live. You have to go listen back to it, man. But yeah, so if anyone wants to reach out to me, you can reach me on Instagram at Systematic Zoo or on YouTube somehow. But yeah, I'd love to work with people and just help sort of shift some. There's a lot of stagnation, and I think that with people, like sometimes it just we all contain keys to other people's doors, like dormant energy. Like we're all reflections, and sometimes you don't see something in yourself which somebody else sees. You need somebody else to mirror what's already inside you. It's not about getting anything from a higher dimension or outside of yourself. It's already inside you, and sometimes you just need somebody to give you a key, like a little nudge, or to show you that there's a door that you didn't see before that you can go through, and that's dormant energy. And we have so many doorways in us that we can channel this energy through. So yeah, if anyone wants to work with me, reach out. I will be charging at a later stage. I won't be charging a horrendous amount of money, but I'd love to do that as a full-time job, because doing podcasts and stuff, I don't make money from it. I don't want to be doing my current job forever. Just want to work and help with people. So if anyone feels called to do that, then reach out to me.
I hope people do reach out for you, because yeah, clarity is clarity. And there's been a couple of commenters in the chat, like the Squirrel Sniper and Tom Rua, that I would really love to have a real chat with. So if you feel like coming like Toby here to discuss your views of the world, please come. This is free speech arena. So everybody's welcome to share their stories.
Yeah, also Howard as well. I think Howard, he's always on the lives with me and Bush Whisperer. Howard's Tom Brewer. There's a few people. I think Howard, are you gonna be like doing podcasts soon? I think like he's been on the journey of like expanding himself. But yeah, man, I'd love to see these guys on a live with you. Yeah. And I'm so grateful that you reached out to me as well, Mira, because you reached out to me after hearing me on a podcast. It's great to see fresh perspectives. I love hearing that. So yeah,
it's really great because talking with you, and because my perspective on the world is fluctuating. It just, nothing is set. I believe nothing, basically. I think everything is sort of like a scam. But maybe not, but my mind is not fixed. My opinions are not fixed, and I definitely love speaking with people who are really stir things up and have strong visions, and are not afraid to express themselves and to change their minds and go beyond and just wonder out loud without really
I'm just sorry, I'm getting my charging because I've seen my battery, my laptop's on 2%.
Mine also.
I'm gonna run and get it.
Yeah, it's just it's really a pleasure talking with likes of Toby, and I really encourage everybody who's there wondering if they could one day represent their thoughts, the private wonders of the world in a podcast. So welcome here. It's just to share your views, because this is how we learn and figure out new things, just talking about them. And welcome back. And we are close to 3 hours. There's obviously other things to do. I have a few Pilates classes to teach and playing with my cats and all of that. So it's really been great again. And I know it was sort of like an adventure to find another time for us to chat. But if we ever find a third moment, you are definitely welcome back to the channel, Toby.
Thank you. Yeah, I think 3 hours seems to be a good amount of time for doing podcasts, especially talking about all the stuff we have, because it's quite a lot. And I think talking about it in an hour is sometimes quite difficult because you have to talk about one specific thing. But I much prefer having longer conversations when I'm able to. So grateful for today's conversation, and everyone who's joined us, everyone who will be joining us. I hope this conversation has found people well, and I hope people leave with more questions than answers, because this is what it's all about. It's about questions. That's the path to wisdom. Is always asking why. Why is the way of the wizard. I always say that when you question stuff, you find new perspectives. If you have an answer, that's it, ended. So what's the point? What's the fun? And then sometimes an answer, you can question an answer, and sometimes it's good to have a bit of clarity, but sometimes it's just fun, like swimming. It's fun traveling on the journey. So yeah. Until next time, definitely up for a part 3 sometime.
Sometime later. Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you to the chat. Thank you for the comments to come, because there will be some. And until next time, everybody. Ciao, ciao.
See ya.